financial problems, elder law, tax problems, business matters, divorce, personal injury, bankruptcy, your life, your reality. Life is complicated. There is the law and there is reality. Welcome to Law and Reality, sponsored by Thav Gross. Now here's your host, Ken Gross.
Welcome to this segment of Law and Reality. This is part 2 of I'm the client and I have a problem. Our last segment, the problem was I was behind in my house and I had too much credit card debt. This week, I have too much credit card debt, I'm underwater in my house, and I also have a significant tax problem. Brian Small, good to have you, my co-host.
A pleasure to be here, Ken, as always.
Garrick Cipients, our guru, senior advisor with regard to financial crisis. Brian and Garrick together are what I have always called the gurus of the firm when it comes to financial crisis. Garrick's joining us as well.
Great to be here, Ken. I prefer genius, but it's your show.
Jimmy, I like that.
We can make you guys geniuses, but gurus is easier to spell.
All right.
Guru, genius.
Genius is a difficult word for me. Gurus is easy. What were you going to say? I don't want to
I was just wondering if we could get a hat that said
I will
financial
put
guru
hats
or
on
financial
both
genius.
of you on the slides that our viewers will be seeing on the show as we're doing the show. So don't worry, I have hats for you. It just I didn't want to burden you with wearing them because you will not like them, I promise. So here's the scenario.
Wait, I thought I was the wizard earlier. You've made me the wizard and you give me the Mickey Mouse
Wizards,
hat.
gurus, they're all in the same class.
The Wiz.
And,
The
it is the wizard hat.
As long as I don't start singing, I'm good.
It is the wizard hats that people are
Because if I
seeing
started
right now.
singing, everybody would just turn off the
Okay,
TV.
let's get into it. So I'm the client, and the whole focus of what we're trying to accomplish is this. We do a pretty good job of talking about the issues and demonstrating, but I want to give a different twist because when a client comes in, it's at a high stressful moment for them. It's a very serious matter, and it's a tough situation, and there's high anxiety. And I want our audience to know that we understand that, and I want to exhibit it so that you get a flavor of how it works when you come in to see Thav Gross for a consultation and how we go about addressing the problem. Now, we're acting a little bit because I'm going to pretend to be the client, and usually I'd be meeting with one of the two of you or me. We wouldn't necessarily have a team, but we're going to make it a team process for the sake of TV. But we'll try and make it as realistic as possible. All right, so I've walked into the office.
No, I want to stop you for a second. Team. That's an important factor here. We are a team, and quite often we will sit down with a client together because there are aspects of a client situation that require an analysis from a corporate side, a bankruptcy side, a financial crisis side, a tax side. And so the combination of all the elements of all of our attorneys that we have here gives us it gives us a hammer that's really strong.
Yeah, you're making a good point because there's never been a week that one of you doesn't come down and say, hey, can you step into a meeting with me and we've got to cover some business issues or so forth, or that I buzz you and say, do you have a minute, can you come down, we're working on this issue, I need your input. We do it all the time. And we used to call it housing, remember?
Yes.
Dr. House from the TV show.
Great show.
Where we'd come in and all of a sudden a guy comes in and crunches the numbers and comes up with the quick magical solution. It was kind of a fun thing. All right, let me give you my story. I'm married, I have 2 children living at home with me. I had a business, but it failed in 2013. As a result, I fell behind on my taxes while trying to save the business. I'm just getting back on my feet. I've gotten myself a new position. I'm working as a sales representative. I'm making $60,000 a year. I've got about $4,100 a month take-home pay. I'm not lighting the world on fire, but I see it as a growth opportunity, and I had to do something because I had to get out from under this business. I've got $50,000 of credit card debt, which is completely maxed out or almost maxed out, and I've got income taxes owed to IRS. I owe from 2011 30 grand, from 2012 25 grand, from 2013 I owe 15 grand. So I owe a total of $70,000 in taxes. I have an IRA. There's $50,000 in it. I was thinking about just busting it, using it to pay the taxes. I want some guidance. I got a house. It's worth about $100,000. It's underwater. First mortgage, $115,000. Second mortgage, $40,000. My mortgage payment is $950 a month on the first mortgage, $350 on the second. I know I'm underwater. My rest of my budget puts me in this situation. After my car payments, food and clothing, I'm spending all the $4,100 a month I'm receiving, staying current on my current year's taxes. I have no money to pay the old taxes, and I have no money to make the $1,250 a month payments on the credit cards, because really I haven't had that money for a long time. I've been just robbing from Peter to pay Paul and bringing up the credit card balances, and that's where I'm at. So my questions for you guys are, what can I do? I see on TV, I hear on the radio that I can settle my tax debt with these tax firms for pennies on the dollar. I want to know, is that my solution to the tax problem?
No, it's not. Period. And it doesn't take you paying $7,500 to one of these tax firms that are out there to find out the solution is not doing an offer and compromise.
Does that sometimes work?
Well, an offer and compromise is an available option to reduce your tax liability or eliminate your tax liability. But in order to do that, in order to qualify, the first place we look are, what are your assets? And in this case, you have a $50,000 IRA. You owe $70,000 to the IRS. You could qualify for an offer, but it would cost you the contents of your IRA. And I have a better solution.
All right, let me make sure that I understand it going forward. This offer and compromise, I'm stepping out of the client for a second, requires you to pay 1 year's net income plus your assets. When the offer works, you have no assets. You don't have any equity in a house, you don't have an IRA, then an offer and compromise usually will work. But if you have an IRA, the government's going to take it from you as part of the offer. So it will never work in that circumstance. Fair statement?
Fair statement.
We'll be back after the break.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP. If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Samasco Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Thav Gross, 888-235-HELP. Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back. All right, let me step out of Ken the client and go back to Ken the moderator a little bit, because I want to stay on this topic of offer and compromise and tax problems. In the situation that I've just laid out with $70,000 of tax debt, a normal consumer is going to watch TV and see all of these shows and commercials and say, hey, I don't need a bankruptcy. I can get rid of the tax debt going to one of these firms. Here's the problem. Offer and compromise is a formula-based method of settling tax debt. It doesn't matter how much tax debt you owe. You could owe $100,000. You could owe $10 million. The amount you have to pay to settle is based upon a formula. The formula is your assets plus what we call dissipated assets, assets that you transferred out of your name in the last couple years, plus 1 year's net income. And when we say net income, it's your gross income less your allowable expenses under the national standards, which, to make it simple, if your income is around $60,000 a year for a family of 4, your net income is going to be practically zero. So if you had $60,000 of income and no home and no IRA and no assets, you're going to be a good candidate for an offer and compromise for virtually pennies on the dollar, $1,000, $500. That plan would get accepted by IRS, and it's a good strategy. Even then, it has some shortfalls. When you do an offer and compromise, you have to stay clean on your taxes for 5 years, and if you don't stay clean, the offer is revoked and the tax becomes due again. And that's a big burden for 5 years compliance. So people need to realize offer and compromise works sometimes, but not always. Now here's the rub. If I would have walked into a tax firm and said, I want to do an offer and compromise, or called one of those 1-800 numbers, too many of them would have said to me on the phone, sure, we can do that for you. Our fee is $5,000 or $7,500. You can put it on a credit card. We'll put you in our super duper program. We'll get it all rolling. Everything will come out great. Because the person I'm talking to is a salesperson. And what they do is they put you in and apply for an offer and compromise, even though they know it's going to get rejected because you've got the $50,000 IRA. And 9 months later...
Well, no, it's not necessarily going to get rejected. It's going to get accepted, and you're going to have to pay over your $50,000 IRA.
It's going to be accepted, but they're going to say it's accepted, but we're not going to accept $1,000. We're going to want 70% of your IRA, which is $35,000, plus $1,000 is $36,000. The other $14,000 you use to pay the taxes because you busted your IRA. So you won't have to pay them the $40,000. You won't lose your IRA, but you're right. They will put you into that, and then in 9 months they call you up and say, I'm sorry it didn't work out. We've used up your retainer. Would you like us to negotiate an installment plan? Those companies are ripping people off, and it is wrongful. For 2 reasons. There's no reason to put someone into an offer and compromise when you know it won't work. It takes us about 15 minutes to go through the facts to make that assessment. Number 2, there should never be an offer and compromise that's charged $5,000 or more. They're not that complicated. When you come to Thav Gross, an offer and compromise is usually in the range of $2,500 for a fee, and that's a fine fee. It gets the job done, and it gets it done right, and you only pay it if it's going to work. You don't put someone into an offer and compromise when you know it's not going to work. So you need to be careful. Now, you've convinced me, or I've convinced myself, that an offer and compromise isn't going to work, but what about bankruptcy? Is there a bankruptcy solution to my problem of my tax debt of $70,000 and my $50,000 of credit card debt?
Yes.
Really?
Is. Yes, absolutely, 100%.
Because the person I called at 1-800 Tax Services, the robot that I was talking to on the phone, or the cartoon character, said that you can't discharge taxes in bankruptcy.
Okay, again, I bring to the table
I just have one question first. Why would anyone hire a cartoon character to solve their tax problems?
I have no idea.
Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
Okay, go ahead.
I bring to the table the following response. When you have a financial problem, you need an analysis that's complete. You want every single possible door opened, kicked open to determine what your options might be. Bankruptcy, tax resolution through offer and compromise, tax payment plans with the IRS and the state of Michigan. Okay? You want to explore whether or not you should do a Chapter 13 or a Chapter 7. Should you settle your credit cards and then work with the IRS? You want to look at all of the options. And once you know what all of the options are, then you drive through the best one.
But tell me, what's my solution to my problem that I've told you? I've got $70,000 of credit card debt from 2011, 12, and 13.
$50,000 worth of credit card debt and $70,000 worth of tax debt.
What's my solution?
Well, I would file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy.
How can I discharge taxes in bankruptcy?
April of 2017.
What's the rule?
Okay. The rule is really simple. If the tax came due more than 3 years ago, your tax returns have been filed for at least 2 years, and you haven't been assessed in the last 8 months, or 240 days, then your taxes are dischargeable in bankruptcy.
All right, so let's look at my taxes. 2011, I owe $30,000. That would have been dischargeable as long as I'm filing after April 15th of 2015.
As long as you filed on time, yes.
2012, I owe $25,000, April 15th, 2016.
Unless you didn't file on time or unless you filed an extension, that's correct.
In 2013, I owe $15,000.
Not till after April 15th, 2017.
So I have to wait.
Yes, you do.
All right, now here I have a question. What about my credit card debt? What about IRS coming after me for the money? Are they going to take my IRA while we're waiting? And I have this IRA. Are you telling me I can file the bankruptcy, discharge the taxes, and keep the IRA?
Yes.
That's
100%.
That's a super deal. We're coming up to a break. When we come back, I want you to explain to me how am I going to make it to April of 2017.
If you're retired and in a financial crisis, there is a way out.
It pains me when I see a retired couple exhaust their savings by paying credit card bills and for a home hopelessly underwater.
Thav Gross specializes in helping retired people in financial crisis.
You just can't keep paying until you're broke. You need to address the problem now.
888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
A lifetime of hard work. If you're approaching retirement and don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your investments, and your savings. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Putting a solid strategy in place with Samasco Law legally protects your assets as well as your wishes. Since a will doesn't cover you medically or financially, Samasco Law goes beyond ordinary asset management protection to safeguard everything you have.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Samasco Law today.
Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
Let's do announcements. We want to remind our viewers to listen to us on WCHB 1200 AM every Tuesday, noon to 1, 6 to 7 p.m. for Law and Reality Live, and on Thursdays with Cliff Russell from 3 to 4 p.m. on 9:10 a.m. every Thursday, 3 to 4 p.m., Law and Reality Now. We've got 2 seminars coming up. First one is coming up Wednesday, August 24th at our offices in Bingham Farm, 6:30 to 8 o'clock p.m., I'm not going down with the ship, time to ditch the debt. This is a seminar focusing on preserving future income for you and your family, all the ways that we use to eliminate debt, but the mantra isn't on debt, it's on preserving income so that you've got money in the bank to spend for you and your family. That's what your responsibility is to do. Attendees get a free copy of my book, Dump Your Debt. This seminar is free. To sign up, go to lawandreality.com or go to thavgross.com, or you can call 888-235-HELP. We have the next seminar coming up for elder law issues. It's called Medicaid for Dad. I have no idea what I'm supposed to do. Help. It's Wednesday, August 31st, 6 o'clock to 7:30 p.m. Pat Samasco, our elder law expert, co-sponsor of the show, is going to walk us through all the methods and processes to use for Medicaid planning and veterans aid and attendance benefits. I'm going to talk about basic estate planning for people in their 40s to 60s. Brian's going to talk about debt issues in that situation. Also want to remind all of you that you don't just have to come to the seminar. Free consultations are available anytime you choose. You just go to thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, and click and request a consult, or you can do it the old-fashioned way. Pick up the phone, call 888-235-HELP, and we'll be glad to set up an appointment with you. There's also free reports on our websites, thavgross.com, lawandreality.com, Pat Simasko's Guide to Social Security, how to form a business in Michigan with 14 programs for financing available outside of commercial banks, and how to use Reg X, the hidden secrets to stop foreclosure, written by yours truly. I want to thank our sponsors, Thav Gross, Simasko Law. We'll be right back.
Tax problems are major problems. Don't let the IRS levy your wages and seize your assets. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem.
If you're behind on your taxes and owe money to the IRS, call Thav Gross.
We've been solving tax problems for 32 years. We stop wage levies, resolve unfiled returns, and obtain the best possible settlements.
Call Thav Gross today, 888-235-HELP.
A lifetime of hard work. If you don't have the right plan in place, you can lose your home, your savings, and more. And you didn't come this far to lose everything. Simasko Law wants you to know that laws are changing. Today, the average cost of nursing home care is $85,000 a year. With proper planning, we can help protect your life savings and get you the Medicaid and nursing home benefits you deserve.
How much can you afford to lose? Call Simasko Law today.
It's devastating, the effects of debt and foreclosure on you and your family. There is a solution.
We're Thav Gross. Our firm will solve your problem. Some fear the word bankruptcy, but in reality, it's a strategy to save your home and to eliminate debt. If you're in financial trouble, timing is critical. You need to take action now. We've been saving homes and eliminating debt for over 33 years.
Call Thav Gross, 888-235-HELP. Carrying too much debt? Resolve your debt. Call Thav Gross.
You don't need to be broke, and you don't need to hit rock bottom. If you have income and you're struggling with debt, dump it. Think about the next 10 or 20 years. If you do what the banks tell you, you'll have nothing to retire with. There is a solution.
Don't waste your future. Call Thav Gross. We're experts at eliminating credit card debt. 888-235-HELP. That's 888-235-HELP.
All right, welcome back.
All right, wait, stop. Because we didn't finish the rule, and I need to talk to you about that because there's something really important.
So tell me, because I want to hear about the rule.
After the rule, it all applies about the 3 years, 2 years, and 240 days. There's one really important thing. You have to file your taxes on time because the IRS will file them for you if you don't. And that's called a substitute for return.
So you mean you have to file the tax return?
Yes.
Right, so if I don't file my tax return?
The IRS will file a substitute for return, and that is never dischargeable in bankruptcy, ever.
All right, so the key here is one of the rules that go with this process of taxes being dischargeable in bankruptcy is you must have filed your return yourself and meet the 3-year, 2-year, 240-day rule.
100% correct. So if you don't
if I don't file my tax return and IRS files it for me, what are the so I lose my right to discharge the tax bankruptcy. What other bad things come of that?
Well, first of all, the liability is excessively higher usually on an SFR than it is if you actually file your taxes.
Because you don't get any of your deductions.
That's right.
And here's another one. There's no reason to ever not file your return.
I don't have the money though. That's what I hear all the time.
If you don't have the money, you don't pay. And you get penalized for failing to pay. It's 0.5% per month. It goes up to 25%, but that takes 6 years to get there. Failing to file on time is 5% per month up to 25%. It's a waste of money. If you're going to have a tax liability, don't double it. If it has to go up even 25% because you don't have the money, we'll deal with it. But it's always a mistake not to file your return. More importantly, people that don't file the return because they think that they won't hear about us, then they come in for a bankruptcy and we find out the government filed a return for them, then we can't use the bankruptcy route. Then we have to try and use the offer and compromise route, which isn't as good. So that's a key point. But here's my question, Brian. It's not April of 17 yet in my imaginary circumstance. I mean, it might be April of 17 sometime. I've got 5, 6, 7 months to get there. Can you hold? What do I do in the meantime?
Well,
do I file the bankruptcy now and just pay the 2013 taxes?
Well, it's a legal option, not the best one. The best one is to try and wait. And the reality is that with this situation, we should be able to keep all of your creditors off your back, including the IRS, for a sustained period of time to get us to the point where those taxes are dischargeable. If you were asking me, well, I have to wait 3 years to get there, that's a different story.
We've done that before.
We have done that many times, but that's a lot harder.
But 6, 7 months is easy. If nothing else, we'd enter into a payment plan with the IRS on an installment agreement, make a couple payments if we have to, then wait till April of 17 and file the return. As far as the credit card companies go, if I'm current up till now, they're not going to be coming after me
no,
for
it'll take
6, 7, 9 months.
Yes, I was
when we
gonna
do
up to a
debt
year.
resolution, you get sued eventually, but it's usually when you're 9 months behind on the payments. So the bottom line is it would be pretty easy to wait. And here's the thing to know. If you come into us and we're meeting there, we're not going to rush to file the bankruptcy because we're in a hurry. The smart thing is getting it done right. And in this particular case, right means waiting to April 16th of 2017 to knock out the other $15,000 of tax. Pretty straightforward thing.
Yep.
All right. If I file that Chapter 7 bankruptcy, kind of just wrapping up, that gets rid of my credit card debt?
Wipes it all away. Fresh start.
I get to keep my IRA.
Protected.
If I did an offer and compromise, I'd lose the IRA.
100% gone.
So there's no question the smart play in this case is to discharge the taxes.
Completely true.
If these taxes were payroll taxes, not income taxes, would this work?
No.
And then I would have to come up with Plan B.
Yes.
Because Plan B would not particularly work. An offer and compromise still would have the problem with the IRA.
We would still need to do a bankruptcy because we would get rid of all the credit card debt, but then we would have to deal with the tax debt on a different basis.
How would we do that? Installment plan?
We would probably either do an offer and compromise and forego the IRA, or we would do an installment payment agreement, because not necessarily all of the tax is required to be repaid. It depends on what you've been personally assessed for.
Bottom line is it takes planning and takes analysis. You need to look at it correctly to get it right. Have a great week. We'll be back next week with Law and Reality.